Hi, welcome to Alter the Decision. I have with me here Yanni today. And those of you who have been following my blog, I really appreciate you taking the time to read. And as you know, I write a lot about vision and I like to share things that are truth, that are knowledge and experience on the blog. And what Yanni has to share with us today is really valuable. And it's about the power of affirmation and how you can really use affirmation correctly to reconstruct your reality. So, Yanni, please give us some more information and help my audience to see and use the affirmation correctly.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. Thanks for having me. And to me, it's an honor to be here and share this with you. Now, the reason why this is important to get affirmations to really work for you is if I can just give you a little bit of background. I've been trying for many years different things, and it didn't seem to work for me. Even Judy, she is an avid user and a very enthusiastic user of her vision boards, and it really, really works for her and all her life. But there were certain elements that it didn't seem to work for me, and I couldn't get it to work. I did the things, but it's as if I just went through the motions. I heard people telling me stuff to do, and I did it, but it didn't work, and I couldn't understand. And as you can imagine, when you do something and it doesn't bring you results,
Then it doesn't work.
man, it doesn't work.
Yet for some people it works.
And yes, and yet for those people who sometimes speak about the things, it really, really works for them. But it seemed to me as I dug deeper into these things, as if people don't have the ability to share with others and really teach others why it works and to make these things really work. And because I'm a hands-on person, as Judy knows, I want to know how it works, how the things are put together so that I can make it work in the first place for myself, but then also to share it so that you can use it for yourself and get the results, because
Right.
that's what counts.
Yeah, you know, the reason why affirmations are so powerful is because it helps to make our new reality, the future we want, to reaffirm it in our mind. And that means that we have to change our old thinking, change our old habits to reconstruct something new. So if you don't believe in what you're saying, then it's really difficult to make it happen. You really have to believe in what you're doing. So for some people, this is a very difficult thing, and it's primarily because of our upbringing and how we were raised and our environment. You know, some people are on the wrong side of the track, some people are on the right side of the track. Some people family have Bill Gates as a family, some people have got families that are still unknown. So all these factors are very important to exactly what affirmation will do for you. So Yanni's got some really amazing things to share about how he found it to work for him, and it'll work regardless of the area that you want.
And regardless of which side of the tracks you are from, because when it's like universal laws, and when these laws are put into action, they will produce the same results every single time. And it's just, I mean, Judy, you just said that, with the affirmations, if I don't really believe, I honestly believe the stuff's going to work for me, but it didn't, because there were certain elements
That was missing
in my reality structure that didn't match. And we're not going to delve into that today, but we need to delve into that sometime. But this is really what I'm sharing with you here really made a massive difference to me, in the sense it helps me to change my reality structure. Now, just a little bit of explanation on your reality structure. Your reality structure is going to be different from mine, and Judy's is different from mine and yours either. So it's something that has been formed in your mind,
our upbringing.
And that comes from our upbringing. So from the moment you were conceived in your mother's womb, you started hearing people talk. And because it's just a fact. Some people don't realize that, but even while you're in your mother's womb, you hear what people are saying. If someone is angry, you hear that. When people is happy, you hear all those things, and that impacts you. And especially from the moment that you physically get born into the world, your parents, especially your parents, have got a vital role in forming your reality structure, because what they speak, what they say, really has an impact. It's got a formative role in your development. And through those actions, there's certain things, as I said, that are stored in your mind, and that becomes your default, your reality structure. So when something happens, for example, when you get into a situation, you don't understand why, but you just don't want to be there. You just want to almost run away. And it might be someone that was very harsh with you when you were 3 or 4 years old. Now, I'm not saying go back there. You don't need to go back there. You don't need to know where these things come from and why they happen. But the important thing is to know how to change this reality structure. With certain things, it's almost like on a balance, on a scale, and that we will look into in the future. Why certain things in certain areas of your life tend to work against you, and other things again tend to work for you. But today we're really delving into the incredibly powerful way to get your imagination, to use your imagination in a constructive way to change your life, to change that reality structure.
Very psychoanalytic.
If you want to call it that. I'm not a psychoanalytical person, but for me, I need to know how the things work.
Absolutely, because the reason why we call our program Wealth is a Decision, because it's a decision you make every step of the way. It's not all monetary factors that make you wealthy, but it all has a whole lot to do with the way you're thinking, and how your thinking affects your wealth.
Yeah. So this whole affirmation thing that we're talking about, it's really how to construct these affirmations in the correct way, so that it can actually work for you. Because I'm sure if it hasn't worked for you, then you will know, and you may know many people. They speak positive stuff all the time, but they do not touch on the different areas that really causes you to create new habits or to form new habits. And it's the habits that really get you
Reconstruct.
to change your life.
Right.
Because you have to reconstruct these habits, and you've heard about it. I've heard about it, but
how do you do it?
How do you do it?
How do you do it?
I tried brute force. Brute force doesn't work. It works for a week. It works for a little while. Judy will know that.
Yeah.
I can really, when I decide I want to do something, I can go, but it didn't bring results for me.
No, that's frustration.
It just brought about frustration to me, until the whole thing just started opening up, almost like a flower. It was so amazing to me, and from then on, as I applied it, everything started changing, and my reality structure started changing. But I must also tell you, there's a bit of work involved. So as we go along, this is a multi-part series. So in follow-up series, you're going to get some homework to do. And I encourage you to do the homework, because if you do it, you're really going to benefit through that.
Yeah, because it's the repetition.
It's the repetition and putting the correct things in place. And there's something interesting that happens when you write stuff down. And I encourage you, write it on paper. Take a pen or a pencil and write it on paper. Don't do it on your computer. You can, after you've written it down on paper, then you can go and put it on the computer if you want to, type it in. But write it out, because there's something that happens with your brain and those emotions that are involved in all those things to get those things solidified inside of you. Okay, so there are 6 steps that we're going to go through in this series that will help you to create these affirmations and use the affirmations and use your imagination in a constructive way to get to you the things that you really want to, and to change your life. That's really what it's all about. It's about you and changing your life. I'm sharing these things with you because Judy and I really want you to experience change in your life. That's really why we do it.
These are things you really need to know, and you got to know that they are working, but you also have to know the source.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you have been reading some of the blogs, so you'll know where we're coming from.
Yeah. Okay. So today I'm just gonna touch on the 6 steps. I'm just gonna read to you from this workbook that we're going through. I'm gonna read to you the 6 steps, but then in the next podcast, we're really going to start digging into the different steps. Next time we're going to delve into step 1 and 2, but today I'm really just going to give you an overview of the 6 steps and how we're going to go forward.
Go for it.
So step number 1. And this is really in a sequential way as well. As you will see as we go through, we're going to go in a sequential way. So you start step 1, then step 2, 3 through 6. Okay? Step number 1. First of all, you select the areas in which you have potential, which is being limited by negatively inclined attitude patterns.
So before you go on, can you just give us an example of that?
Yes.
Maybe something that you encountered?
For me, for example, it was so difficult for me with sales to take the telephone and call someone or go out and do sales calls. I did it, but like I explained to Judy, I would sit in the car for half an hour or 45 minutes just thinking, this way, that way, this way, that way.
I think that's a lot of problem.
Yeah, and even on the phone, it was really difficult. When I eventually did it, it was okay. And yet I didn't get the results that I wanted because I had this limiting thing. And I didn't really know, even now, I don't really know where that comes from. But when I was a little boy, I never had many friends. I was always on my own. And really the reason why, I don't know. And I don't want to go and dig into that.
We don't want to know what happened before
I
birth,
don't want to know.
And we can't tell.
But those things had to be changed. And now it's different. And so now I can go out. And I can go do the things that I need to do.
So you changed your reality.
Yeah.
All right.
And just here, it's important to realize that there are 3 areas that you have to look at. And I thought initially, I've really got a problem in this one area, with business and with these attitudes that I had, being afraid to go and see people and not confront, but to face people. But you have to be balanced. So there are 3 areas. The first one is your work, your professional capacity, or that area of your life. The second is your social structure, how you socialize with people, with family, and then the personal side as well. And as we go along, you're going to have to work on all 3 of these areas at the same time. Otherwise, it's imbalanced, and you're not going to see the results. So that's just a word of caution as we go along. Just remember that you have to look at these areas all at the same time. So point number 2, evaluate whether it will be to your advantage to use more of your potential in those areas. So in each of these areas, I'm going to give you a few pointers that you're going to select from to create your affirmations from. Okay? And then you have to decide. I cannot decide for you. You have to decide how you're going to tackle these things and which areas are more important to you. And from the examples that I'm going to give you, that it's just a trigger. You may have other areas in those three main areas that you want to target.
So that's the exercise.
That's going to be the
Okay.
exercises or the homework that we're going to give you. Point number 3, define each area clearly. Identify the positive emotion you would like to have about that part of yourself and build the kind of self-description you would like to have become accurate about you. And so there we're really getting down to the bottom of all this, how it's not only your words, the things that you think about, but it's your emotions. It's really when you can get your emotions involved, that is when the things really start happening. Because it's as if your emotions bring those experiences.
Yeah, because I think emotions is the very foundation of a human being.
Yeah.
That's what makes us different than animals and plants and all of that. Because
absolutely.
I don't think animals really have emotions.
No,
A dog always looks happy. Unless you scold him.
Yeah. All right. Point number 4, design a triggering verbal affirmation for each characteristic or skill you have to select it. So then we construct the affirmation. And you will see, and I will give you, there's specific requirements that these affirmations have to comply to. Because if you don't comply to those things, it's just going to be words. So you have to comply to these different elements, which I'm not going to show you now. When we get there, I'll give you more information on that. But it's just important to know that there's a specific structure. It's not just writing something down and now you just keep on speaking it. It has to be constructed in a specific way. Point number 5, then you use the affirmations repeatedly to stimulate the experiencing and feeling in your imagination of the kind of behavior and emotion you want to have become your real normal habit. So we're back to habits again. You might know that when you create new habits, you're going to get new results. You know, like they say, if you're just going to continue doing the same things year after year and you expect different results, it's not going to happen. So we have to change our habits, and this is the way that we change our habits.
And you know, I've always heard people say you can't just always go on thinking happy thoughts, because there are situations and there are times when happy thoughts are not the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
So with the reality, you put in the thoughts that's going to be applicable for that thing. Because I mean, you see a fire or you see danger, it's not a happy thought. It's like alert, beware. So you want to implant that in place.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is to get those your reality structure in each area, that it works for you and not against you.
Right.
That's where we get it.
Thank you. That's great, Yanni.
Okay, and then the final step is going to be allow the changed images to guide your behavior in the new directions that you have decided upon. So this is important because you have to decide for yourself which areas you're gonna embark on to change. And as we go along, and you learn how to do these things, and then you'll understand why it works. Because honestly, I could never grasp it. I had so many people that I've got so much respect for, and their lives, I mean, things just happened for them. Some of them would put their hand on something that they want, a car or something, and they say, "This is mine." And in a short while, they would have it. It didn't work for me.
They forgot the emotion part.
I don't know, but they seemingly they couldn't relate that
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
or to others.
Yeah.
And that's where we're getting to. So this was why, thank you, Judy. This is really cool so that you can share these things.
Yeah, and
And
this is just the beginning because there's a few more steps that Yanni has to share with us and some more exercises. Because after all of this is given out to you, then it's up to you to use it to with your vision board to help empower yourself, to make yourself a better person, to make the world a better place, so we all can work and do what we need to do in life and get on with our lives. So we
Yeah.
really appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's great to be here, and thank you that I'm allowed to share it with you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay. Well, until next time, we'll see you in the next podcast.